Professional Education Reviewer. Social dimension of education. Number 1. Under the 21st century life and career skills, which enables a person to respond to the change of modernity. A. Flexibility and adaptability. B. Social and cross-cultural skills. C. Leadership and responsibility. D. Productivity and accountability. Answer. Letter A. Flexibility and adaptability. Flexibility and adaptability are in the classroom are two of the most important qualities that every teacher must possess. These two characteristics also go hand in hand with one another. Flexibility is the idea that your plans can change very quickly, sometimes with notice and sometimes without. Receive criticism, good and bad, from your advisors is extremely important in terms of flexibility because it will force you to change up what you used to doing. Being flexible means incorporating this feedback into your teaching. Also, on the spot changes to me may also need to be made based on certain situation in the classroom, often without prior realization. Adaptability is the ability to adapt to change. In general, it is being able to acclimate yourself to changing rules, job responsibilities, materials, and schedules. If you cannot accommodate for this different aspect of teaching, it will be difficult to give your student the best learning experience that they could possibly get. And of course, that's always the goal. Number 2. Which pillar of learning describe the phrase unity in diversity? A. Learning to live together. B. Learning to be. C. Learning to know. Or D. Learning to do. Learning to live together is the answer. Learning to live together in peace and harmony is a dynamic, holistic, and lifelong process through which mutual respect, sharing, understanding, caring, compassion, and social responsibility, solidarity, acceptance, and tolerance of diversity among individuals and groups, ethnic, social, cultural, religious, national, and regional, are internalized and practiced together to solve problems and to work towards a just and free, peaceful, and democratic society. Learning to live together involves developing, broadening, or changing perception of an attitude toward ourselves and others, and consequently, the way we behave in our daily encounters and interactions with others. Number 3. The teacher would like to focus on wellness, which need to be developed among individual learners, and so she gives focus on A. Vital values, B. Pleasure values, C. Spiritual values, or D. Holy values. The answer is letter A. Vital values. Vital values are those pertaining to the well-being either of the individual and the community. Number 4. The teacher will spend more than what is earned, those becoming vulnerable to loan shark locks. The teacher will spend more than what is earned, those becoming vulnerable to loan shark locks. A. Financial literacy, B. Cyber literacy, C. Eco literacy, D. Media literacy. The answer is letter A. Financial literacy. Financial literacy is the education and understanding of various financial areas, including topics related to managing personal finance, money, and investing. This focuses on the ability to manage personal finance matters in an efficient manner, and it includes the knowledge of making appropriate decisions about personal finance such as investing, insurance, real estate, paying for college, budgeting, retirement, and tax planning. Number 5. Owing to issues in friendship, family ties, gender rights, etc., blank is a value-rich subject that provides a wide opportunity for value formation of learners. A. Filipino, B. Social science, C. English, D. Islamic subject. The answer is letter B. Social science. Social science is an academic discipline concerned with society and the relationship among individuals within the society, which often rely primarily on empirical approaches. Number 6. Which ran against the Filipino family value of a sacrifice? Which ran against the Filipino family value of sacrifice? A. Willingness to forgive. B. Delayed satisfaction of desire. C. Inability to forgive. D. Tolerance of pain and mistake. The answer is letter C. Letter C. Inability to forgive. To sacrifice means to give up something we hold dear in order to gain someone else even more valuable. Although this is an idea and practice that considered archaic and unrealistic in today's self-centered, narcissistic world, if you think about it, sacrifice is really at the heart of any culture, society. Inability to forgive is an attitude that runs against the value of sacrifice. 7. A student passes a book report poorly written but ornately presented in a folder to make up for the poor quality of book report content. Which Filipino traits does this practice prove? A student passes a book report poorly written but ornately presented in a folder to make up for the poor quality of book report content. Which Filipino traits does this practice prove? A. Forma over substance. B. Substance over forma. C. Arts over academics. D. Arts over science. The answer is letter A. Forma over substance. The correct answer is A. Forma over substance. When a student focuses more on the science and embellishment rather than of content of a report, then it chose forma over substance. 8. When you wanted to genuinely clarify and point relative to an issue under discussion in a meeting, what will you do as a teacher? When you wanted to genuinely clarify and point relative to an issue under a discussion in meeting, what will you do as a teacher? A. Politely request for recognition to clarify your point. B. Just keep quiet to avoid opposition. C. Discuss with seatmates to gain support. Or D. Oppose the other opposition. The answer is letter A. Politely request for recognition to clarify your point. In communication, clarification involves offering back to the speaker the essential learning, as understood by the listener, of what they have just said, thereby checking that the learner's understanding is correct and resolving any areas of confusion or misunderstanding. Clarification is important in many situations, especially when what is being communicated is difficult in some way. Communication can be difficult for many reasons. Perhaps sensitive emotions are being discussed, or as listening to some complex information or following instruction. As a teacher, the best way to clarify an issue under a discussion is to politely request for recognition to clarify your point. Number 9. In doing research, which is needed to be more valid. In doing research, which is needed which is needed to be more valid? A. Assumption. B. Hypothesis. C. Factual evidence. D. Conclusion. The answer is letter C. Factual evidence. Conclusions have drawn from analyzing research data can only be valid if the evidence are factual, since conclusions are based from the evidence. Principles of teaching. Number 10. Teacher Vanessa believed that students need not know the intended learning outcome of her lesson. She proceeded to her learning activities at once without letting them know what they are supposed to learn for that day. Which principle of learning does teacher Vanessa negate? Teacher Vanessa believed that students need not know the intended learning outcome of her lesson. She proceeds to her learning activities at once without letting them know what they are supposed to learn for that day. Which principles of learning does teacher Vanessa negate? A. Learning is the discovery of the personal meaning of ideas. B. Effective learning begins with the setting clear expectation and learning outcomes. C. Learning process is an active process. D. Learning is a cooperative and collaborative process. The correct answer is letter B. Effective teachers set clear learning expectation, and this was what teacher Vanessa failed to do before she proceeded with her lesson for that day. 11. Teacher Prince noticed that in group work, students just leave the work to the leader and so vowed never to give group work again. Against which principle of learning is Teacher Prince's decision? A. Learning is a discovery of the personal meaning of ideas. B. Learning is an active process. C. Learning is a cooperative and collaborative process. Or D. Effective learning begins with setting clear expectation and learning outcomes. The correct answer is letter C. Teacher Prince went against a principle which states that learning is a cooperative and collaborative process by not giving group work to his student. Collaborative learning is a method of teaching and learning in which students team together to explore a significant question or create a meaningful project. Cooperative groups work face to face and learn to work as a team. In small groups, students can share strengths and also develop their weaker skills. Number 12. In his desire to finish the content of the course syllabus, Sir Janus just lectures while students listen. Which principle of learning does Sir Janus violate? A. Learning is a cooperative and collaborative process. B. Learning is a discovery of the personal meaning of ideas. C. Learning is an active process. Or D. Effective learning begins with setting clear expectation and learning outcomes. The answer is letter C. Learning is an active process. No one can learn for us in the same way that nobody can eat for us, nor live for us, nor die for us. If it is my brother who solved my assignment in algebra, then it is my brother, not me, who will master the skill of solving problem in algebra. This means that we must actively engage the learners in learning activities if we want them to learn what we intend to teach. We must give our students opportunities to participate in classroom activities. This quote serves as summary of the first principle. What I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. What I do, I understand. 13. Mr. Sevilla requires his class to conduct research. Write a research report and defend the same before a panel of experts. In which levels of processing will the student be engaged? I. Retrieval. 2. Comprehension. 3. Analysis. 4. Knowledge utilization. A. 4 and 5. B. 1, 3 and 4. C. 2, 3 and 4. D. 1, 2, 3 and 4. The answer is letter D. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Marzano and Kendall have given Bloom taxonomy a bit of working over. They reframe the three domains, and instead of categorizing learning activities, they describe 6 levels of processing knowledge as follows. Retrieval. It involves the recognition and recall of information and the execution of mental procedures and psychomotor procedures. Comprehension involves the integration and symbolization of knowledge. Analysis involves matching and classifying activities, analyzing errors, generalizing from foundation knowledge, and specifying logical consequence. Knowledge utilization involves decision making, problem solving, experimenting, and investigating. Metacognitive system. It involves the learner's specification of learning goals, monitoring of the learner's own process, clarity and accuracy of learning. Simply put, involves the learner's organization of their own learning. Self-system. It involves the learner's examination of the importance of the learning task and their self-efficacy. It also involves the learner's emotional response to the learning task and their motivation regarding it. Number 14. Teacher Clarence wanted her student to rate their own work using the scoring rubric when she explained to the class before the student began with their task. Based on revised Bloom's taxonomy, in which level of cognitive processing are the students. Teacher Clarence wanted her students to rate their own work using the scoring rubric which she explained to the class before the students began with their task, based on revised Bloom taxonomy, in which level of cognitive processing are the students. A. Applying, B. Analyzing, C. Synthesizing, D. Evaluating. The answer is letter D. Evaluating. Bloom's taxonomy is a set of three hierarchical models used to classify educational learning objectives into levels of complexity and specificity. The three lists cover the learning objectives in cognitive, affective, and sensory domains. The cognitive domain list has been the primary focus of most traditional education and is frequently used to structure curriculum, learning objectives, assessment, and activities. Knowledge. Knowledge involves recognizing or remembering facts, terms, basic concepts, or answers without necessarily understanding what they mean. Its characteristics may include A. Knowledge of specific terminology, specific facts. B. Knowledge of a ways and means of dealing with specific convention, trends, and sequence, classification, and categories, criteria, methodology. C. Knowledge of the universals and abstraction in field, principles and generalizations, theories on structure. Comprehension involves demonstrating an understanding of facts and ideas by organizing, comparing, translating, interpreting, giving description, and stating the main ideas. Application involves involves using acquired knowledge, solving problems in new situations by applying acquired knowledge, facts, techniques, and rules. Learners should be able to use prior knowledge to solve problems, identify connection and relationship, and how they apply in new situations. Analysis involves examining and breaking information into components part, determining how the parts relate to one another, identifying motives or causes, making inference, and finding evidence to support generalization. Synthesis. It involves building a structure or pattern from diverse elements. It also refers to act of putting parts together to form a whole.
Ano ba kami pisa-pisa? Naaman.
Evaluation involves presenting and defending opinions by making judgment about information. The validity of ideas or quality of work based on a set of criteria. 15. Teacher Ray shared his lesson objectives, learning outcome with her student. Before the period ends, all of you must be able to identify the topic sentence and supporting sentences of a given paragraph. Teacher Ray chilled them on the subject-verb agreement to ensure that they can write a good paragraph. Then, period ended. Did Teacher Ray use the lesson objective, learning outcome as a guide in the development of her lesson? Teacher Ray shared this lesson objective